Hi, everyone. This is Norman Kochnek here from Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnek. And we're very, very privileged to have a man who's far too busy for his own good. He's been sensationally going skyrocketing with his fledglings cricket. And we'll get Simon to talk about it now. Simon Willis, who's been high performance Sri Lanka, high performance England, you name it. Everyone goes to Simon when they want advice on all aspects of cricket. How are you, Simon?
Very well, Norman. Thank you for that very kind introduction. It's been a hectic 6 months or so with the English summer, but a very enjoyable one at the same time. So apologies for not being on more regular, but good to catch up now.
I appreciate that. And we've just noticed Munchie's come on early as well. Munchie's been a part of the program. You met, of Munchie, don't you?
That's right. Yep. The Vernon clan. Yep, absolutely.
Exactly. Now, Simon, obviously the IPL's done and dusted. CSK did very well. A number of the players out of Chennai Super Kings have come to the fore, such as even good old Hazelwood, Noah Ali. They've all performed well into the World Cup now. But a couple of dark horses. We've seen Pakistan smash India, which has blown us all away. But there are two teams that people are not talking about much, and I think they need to be wary of them. One clearly is Afghanistan. They gave Scotland a nice old shellacking only yesterday, and beat the West Indies as well. They're a dark horse, but my even darker horse is actually Sri Lanka. I think people are not aware of the depth of their team, and that's one of the reasons, if not the reason, I'd like to talk to you about Sri Lanka. You've got a great little experience, and as what David Graveney told me the other day, you specifically are aware of the Sri Lankan makeup. A lot of these young players that we don't know much about. So that's one of the reasons why I've got you to talk today, is about that. Before we lead into the matches, which are also, of course, Australia plays Sri Lanka on Thursday, and Australia better be careful because they're up against a side that could do some damage against them, I think, especially on a UAE pitch. What's your thoughts, Simon? Do you want to go? I'll let you discuss what you want to discuss. We might go through some players as well, specifically.
No problem. Well, first of all, Pakistan were my tip for the T20 World Cup, so I was really pleased to see that they played. I just think you can never write off Pakistan in major tournaments. They seem to turn up when they need to and have the depth, particularly in those conditions with their spin bowling attack. So. So I'm hopeful that they're going to at least get through to the semi-finals. I think the pitches will play a huge part. There's no doubt with the conditions, the heat, the IPL already being there, the various warm-up matches. It's going to be hard for the ground staff at all three venues to produce belters. So I think pace off the ball, we've already seen it. Pace off the ball is going to be a key factor. Or the other extreme of pace on the ball on certain occasions. So for me, it's going to be an Asian team who wins. Is my gut feel. But talking about Sri Lanka, it's just great to see. It's 5 years since I started there, and 3 years, just under 3 years since I left. But the plan when we went there was to develop a young group of players to come through and put the senior players under pressure, as it were, because there were one or two coming to the end of their time. One of my first remits by Aravinda de Silva at the time, who was chairman of cricket, was to look at the fast bowling resources and set up a fast bowling academy at the High Performance Centre. So with the help of Champaka Ramanayaka, Chaminda Vas, and the other bowling coaches at the HPC, we identified a group. And the first one that obviously was already coming through was Dushmanta Chamira, who's in there now. He was already in the emerging players program. But Lahiru Kumara was an under-19. And we identified some stuff with him. He came over to England and bowled England under-19s out, where we won the series, where Avishka Fernando was under-19 captain at that time. So Lahiru came through when I was there, and we gave him his debut, which was fantastic, and he just got better and better and better. The fact that he's bowling over 90 miles an hour on those pitches is pretty impressive. So, in Australian conditions or English conditions, you can put on another five miles an hour there comfortably. So that's great. But the one for me that I'm really pleased about is Karunaratne, who had some challenges when I was there. He's a genuine all-rounder. But for whatever reason, he wasn't a favourite. But we liked what we saw. We knew we didn't have too many all-rounders. Dasun Shanaka would have been one underneath Angelo Matthews. And there were a couple of others, but we didn't have a lot. So we identified him as a good young all-rounder who again could bowl late 80s. So he came through a few challenging things, and it's great to see him, getting his opportunity, but also grabbing it at the same time. So to have 3 fast bowlers who can bowl 85 miles an hour plus is probably a first in Sri Lankan cricket. I can't remember too many times where they would have had that available to them. And you've got a couple of others further down the pipeline as well who are playing in the A-team series coming up as well. So, if they do get an injury longer term, hopefully 1 or 2 of these other guys can step up. So from that point of view, the seam bowling resource is exciting. And then
I just want to quickly reiterate. You've got Chamika Karunaratne. You've got, obviously, you've mentioned Chamira, and you've mentioned the other fellow was Lahiru, wasn't it?
Yes, correct. Yeah,
Lahiru Kumara. Those 3. We'll see to the third. Chamika Karunaratne actually impressed me. Well, I've seen him as well. So you've those 3. Now, okay, and you mentioned all-rounders such as Dasun Shanaka, which is he's taken over the captaincy as well, interesting enough, and I wanted to get your thoughts on that. And obviously, we're not seeing Angelo Matthews anymore. He's no longer in the mix, is he, in the World Cup? What do you think? Okay, I just wanted to recap those because they're important. Please, viewers, watch those players. They're going to come through in this tournament even more than they have already. All right, let's go back. What other players are you suggesting?
Okay, so to continue the bowling unit theme, obviously the two spinners. Wanadu Hasaranga, again, we gave him his debut against Zimbabwe where he got the hat trick. We picked him as a leg spinner who could bat. And he was, again, another talented young player that was in our under-19 program when I arrived. He's a competitive person, naturally. He wants to win, and he gives 100% effort. So, again, for him to have come through and established himself as, I think, one of the top bowlers, top spinners in the world in this format is full credit to him, and the coaches who he's worked with, because
he's actually ranked in the top 5. Isn't he top 5 at the moment?
I think he was number 1 at one stage as well.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's great to see. And for me, it just backs up what I was saying when I was there. Sri Lanka has an amazing amount of talent. It's just, when it gets to a certain level, things start to either stop it continuing growing or deflects it. And, hopefully now we're seeing with Mahela coming in and getting involved and some of the past cricketers getting involved, these players now are going to be given the help and support that they deserve because, they've got the talent. And, Mahesh Tikshana is probably the one for me that is the most satisfying out of all of them because we found him from nowhere. He was in an outstation. The spin bowling coaches came to me and said, could I have a look at this guy? They've been recommended to him by one of the provincial coaches. So we said, yeah, bring him in, let him bowl at the under-19s. He came in and he was a chunky fellow. Okay, he was carrying probably 30 kilos more than he is currently. But he
30 kilos.
Yeah.
Wow.
He could bowl. He was, at the time we identified him as a potential Ajantha Mendis of the future. But there were issues, obviously, and I remember when we decided to bring him in and give him support from a S&C point of view and cricket skills point of view. He had no kit, and he had size 13 feet. And I remember going to ask Tisara Pereira, do you have any spare boots that you could give this young man, because you're the only person that's got the same size feet as him. and Tisara came straight out the car, got him a pair of boots, and then lads gave him bits and pieces of kit to help him on his way. And it's great to see, Mahesh is committed to his fitness program. As I say, he's lost between 25 and 30 kgs. He started to play for Colts in their under-23s and did well in senior cricket. He then got selected on the back of that for the T10 in the UAE and did well, and then played in the LPL for Jaffna Stallions last year, did well, and surprisingly, Tisara Pereira was the captain of that team. So it's a lovely story. It's a lovely journey, and I'm really pleased for him and his family, who literally had nothing. So it's really satisfying, and probably one of the reasons that I go into coaching is for stories like that.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Mahesh as well, because the relationship to Tisara Pereira, and Tisara Pereira himself has carried kilos at certain stages of his career too. He's been decided out of weight, and he trimmed down quite a bit. So he had a good role model to go by. I don't know whether Tisara lost 25 kilos, but he would have lost a fair few kilos. I remember him in Brisbane. I was then with my wife up there, and he visited with his wife, and he was quite chubby then. He was not nearly as fit. He certainly had to trim down as well. So I think there's a comparison there for that. So again, you mentioned Mahesh Thekshala, and obviously Winindu Hasaranga, who obviously also played IPL, was in the IPL mix, which is a big testament to, because we were waning with Sri Lankans in the IPL. After the likes of Malinga went Mahala went into coaching with Sangakkara, there were no players. There were virtually no players coming through. Now we saw that happen again. So I think that's an impressive sign that they're being acknowledged in that way. But the captaincy of Dasun Shananaka, to me, he's good, but is he that good? Is he the right captain to have at this point in time? That was my only concern. I mean, sound player that he is, but was he the right captaincy choice at this stage? That was my only concern. Not detracting from his ability, but I mean, they miss having a number of those players like Colson Mendes. We know Nicholas and Dickwell. We know what's going on there. There were a few of them that were in that mix who I think they're missing a little bit now. Rosh and Dickwell are certainly missing because he had that spark about him. Do you know what's going on there? Is he due back after his ban at some stage? Do you know what that's going to be?
I'm hearing rumours because the domestic season is about to start in Sri Lanka this month. And I'm hearing that the ban is now going to probably change slightly to allow them to play domestic club cricket. So they won't be available for international cricket, but they will be allowed to play club cricket, is what I'm hearing. So,
which is good, because I thought personally the ban was too hard. I really did. I know there was breaching bubble issues and what have you, but in the scheme of things, I don't think. I mean, there may have been priors that go on there as well, I might say, but those players, they're hurting a little bit not having them in the side. That's my thoughts. But
for me, Kusal Mendes' career has gone through a bit of a choppy period. When I was there, particularly in Test cricket, we saw him and Daniel Jaya to be our two golden lights, as it were, during the Australian series. They both got hundreds, and it's been sad to see how his career has just stalled a little bit. But I'm sure this little period for Kusal will be a good reflection time. And I expect him to come back strongly and really make sure his career goes forwards. As
well as Colson Pereira as well. We know Rosh and Dickwell, I think he'll come back. So, look, there's a lot of, and as you mentioned, the five bowlers, the three fast and two spin, the all-rounders, there's quite a bit of depth in. I mean, there's other characters in there that we would know very well as well. But, okay, Dinesh Chandimal, what's happening with him, do you think? Where is he at? Because he's still in that mix. He's a part of the squad. I don't quite know what's happening there because he obviously was a former captain himself.
Absolutely. And without being on the inside, you will never really know or understand it. For me, Dinesh is a longer format player, so more 50 over and Test cricket for me. I don't really see him fitting in a T20 side just because of his character and the way he goes about playing the game. So for me, I don't really understand it, and it didn't surprise me. I don't think he played in the last game from memory. They brought in Charit Asalanka, who was another young player that's come through.
And he played fantastically.
Yeah, and again, great to see. I predicted that he'll be a future Sri Lankan captain when I was out there because he was that impressive young man.
This is Asalanka, yeah.
Charit Asalanka, yeah. He played for the A team. Well, again, came through the under-19s, but played for the A team against England while I was out there, and was very, very impressive with both bat but also ball. He bowled off spin. I remember one of the Test matches. He bowled off spin in Kandy on a flattish wicket, and he bowled the complete middle session without being taken off, just because of his mindset and his ability to control one end. So for me, it's another fine young player who's grabbing his opportunity.
But that game against Bangladesh put on a distinct amount of runs in the first World Cup match, 171, I think it was. Sri Lanka were down and out for a while there, but Asalanka came back very strongly, and quite frankly, he was very impressive. And we'll see that's a great test against Bangladesh, but let's see how they go against Australia. I think Australia's in a bit of trouble, if you want my honest opinion. I think that Australia against South Africa won the match, but very unconvincingly. I'm not sure whether you saw that, but it was extremely unconvincingly, to the point where really it worried me that they almost lost it against a South African side that were well under par. So that's intriguing. So clearly that match between Australia and Sri Lanka, what do you seriously think will happen there? Do you think Sri Lanka have got a hope because of the conditions?
Look, I think Sri Lanka have got a hope because there's not too many players in that team that have played against Australia and got the scars of losing to Australia. So I think, that's a massive advantage. They've obviously been playing well, so they'll be high on confidence. And they've got a bowling attack that can take wickets. It's not a bowling attack to stop teams scoring. It's a wicket-taking attack. So for me, I think they've got a great chance. I think Australia, probably T20s, their weakest format, if I'm honest, out of the three.
Oh, by far.
In my opinion. So for me, I think it's even Steven and it's whoever plays well on the day. And I think it'll come down to
match. It's not a due related match. It's a day match.
I think it'll come down to bowling attacks, and I back Sri Lanka to win it. If I'm honest.
If I'm being honest too, I think the same.
Yeah.
Now, have you had much time to look at Afghanistan, the way they're playing? I mean, Rashid Khan and the other Majib, I think he is spelling pronounced. They were phenomenal. They have got trickery going on there, I tell you.
Definitely, and that's the key factor in these formats is mystery spin. If you've got mystery spin, then it's really, really tough to score runs on these pitches. So for me, they're going to be there or thereabouts, no doubt. And I'm sure they've got people on the bench that they could bring in as well to add further challenges to the opposition with the ball. So yeah, you've got to remember a lot of these players have had a lot of time off. They've not played cricket, whereas in the past they're generally tired, played a lot of tournaments. So there'll be a lot of players motivated to do well here, especially with the IPL auction, due this year as well. So,
oh my God, there are going to be 10 teams, and Lucknow paid $1 billion, basically, or £500 million thereabouts. That's ginormous.
Absolutely, and who would have thought it when T20 cricket was started in England that we get to this stage? It's fantastic for the game, and fantastic for everyone involved.
But the thing that really interests me is the way that the Pakistan team have gone in this match, the way they've been drilled. Like Harris Ralph, I'm not sure I told you before, but he had lots to do with me and a few others here in Sydney. He was here as a raw-bone kid, only played with a tape ball, lovely personality. He worked his butt off, trained his butt off. He's now on the side. So I think Pakistan, wouldn't it be great that there'd be a day where they'd play in the IPL? That would really show out their form. I mean, they've got the PSL, I know, but you never know what will happen in the future. Anyway, so Pakistan, we know, are putting a big stamp on this tournament. I think Sri Lanka have. I wouldn't discount Bangladesh. They batted quite well against 171. They're in the mix. The one that's the most shocking so far is India. I mean, other than Kohli getting 50, their team was a bit like a deer with headlights in terms of their bowling. They were quite pedestrian. The batting, well, look, KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma are unbelievably good. They came across a Shaheen that was in form. But it'll be interesting to see what happens there. So the games today, South Africa versus West Indies, both given a bit of a whacking the previous match. That's going to be interesting to see the bounce back ability. I think West Indies will come back and win that. That's my thoughts. The other game today, of course, is extremely interesting. Pakistan versus New Zealand. After the way Pakistan just played, if they come out, hopefully they're not in an undulation of form, which can happen after a big. The danger is they've got a big high after having played India. They're going to come out from an almighty high. They may not have enough time to get ready for this match, but if they beat New Zealand, they're almost guaranteeing themselves a semi-final spot, aren't they? Effectively, because with Scotland, Namibia, they're going to knock those two off, you would imagine. Afghanistan may worry them, but they're going to do enough to make the semi-finals, which is intriguing. So, I mean, I think you're right. We could well see an India-Pakistan semi-final grouping, well, at least on Group 2. You may well see, I still think England are favourites in that group, but you may see a Sri Lanka get through. We just don't know. And you could see three, if not, or let's just say 3 subcontinent teams ready to go. It's going to be intriguing, actually. Very intriguing. So you think Pakistan, which is coming to fruition, what impresses you about Pakistan in particular?
Look, like I said earlier, when it comes to big tournaments, they always seem to be ready. They seem to be in the mix. It's like they use a bit like India. They use some of the series, home series, away series, to find out about players, rather than actually focusing on winning all the time. They really do focus. It's like when they won the Champions Trophy in England a few years ago. No one expected them to, but suddenly they all turn up and they're ready to go. So you just can never write them off. But for me, it's their bowling attack. Reverse swing and spin. Anybody that's got that capability is going to be a threat. It's not. For me, it's always been about bowling attacks, this format. To win T20 matches, you've got to have 5 proper bowlers. Whereas there are times when teams go in with a few part-timers, and I just don't think it works. So for me, they've got a proper bowling attack, and their batters in these conditions, aren't worried about getting hit on the head, shall we say. They've got a little bit more confidence playing on these pitches, and a bit more freedom. So
That's true. I mean, it is their backyard. It's their backyard, for God's sake, isn't it? This is their backyard currently. They've been playing the UAE for some time now, haven't they? So
absolutely,
it says it all.
Yeah.
All right. So I've just noticed that Munchie, there's a lot of people asking questions that we've been ignoring a little bit. Munchie sticking to England, India, Pakistan, West Indies, which was my 4. What's your 4?
Yeah, I don't think West Indies will be there. I have to be honest. I think West Indies have got an ageing team, and I think this is their last swan song as a group. So I don't think West Indies will be there. I think England will be, India will be, Pakistan, and I'm going to put Sri Lanka in there.
Yeah, I have originally put the 4 that Munchie put in. Based on what I saw with the West Indies in the IPL and the like, I thought there may be enough there. But after getting out what was a pathetically low score, we're going to see the true test today when they play South Africa. West Indies should beat South Africa convincingly if they're realistic about their chances. And South Africa, I'm not sure what your thoughts are there. They're mind-blowingly crazy, not having du Plessis, Tahir. I mean, AB de Villiers you could include as well. Some of the players they haven't chosen are mind-boggling. Why even Chris Morris, who went for so many crores playing for an IPL side, but not included in the squad. I mean, Pretorius looked pretty good, but to me, not having du Plessis was a madness.
Yeah, it's a very sad state of affairs, Norman, isn't it? Really, South African sport from a point of view of the political impact that it's having. Yeah. I obviously knowing a lot of players who've come over to the UK. A couple of guys playing for Namibia at the moment. David Visa was a South African cricketer. You'd get a hell of a team out for guys who are playing for other countries or have played for other countries or not selected. So for me, I see South African cricket on a slippery slope. I think it's going one way, and it's very sad to see. I don't see them being very competitive, for some time unless things change.
Well, you can sense it in the manner of a Quinton de Kock. I can see the way the drooping of his shoulders, his attitude when he bats. He's somewhat showing signs of being defeatist. He really is not at his best. He's been stuffed around as well from being captain 1 minute, captain not the next. Bavuma, look, I'm not knocking him as a player, but he's not captain material in my opinion. He actually admitted to being scared before the match against Australia, which is a bizarre admission. I mean, even if you are, you don't come out with your press conference saying, I'm scared. It's a rather bizarre way to start a press conference. Yeah, there's a lot going on there. I mean, they've just released the Steve Smith interview, so I'll post in a minute. Don't worry. Australia's got some implosion going on as well. Don't you worry. There are some real issues there in terms of who's going to be captain of the future, who's going to be coach of the future. The current rumour, are they really with the current coach? There's been a lot of speculation out there. Travis Head and I think it was Travis Head and Matthew Wade were on the outer with the previous selection panel. They're trying to get themselves back on the inside. There's a bit of dissension there. Steve Smith thinks he'll be the next captain when, in fact, no one has said so. When your coach and current captain know nothing about that. There's a lot of these camps growing in Australia as far as the team's concerned. And now that Ben Stokes has been selected for the Ashes, that's a huge plus for England, isn't it? There's a lot going on there too. But yeah, it's pretty obvious. We haven't even mentioned Australia in terms of this particular tournament. Really, they're not a T20 strength at all, and they've never proven to be. So okay, Simon, I know we've got limited time to sketch you on, so I'm really appreciating. Who's going to win this? Pakistan, you're saying?
Well, Pakistan will be my tip, so I've got to go with them. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. As I say, the other three teams that I've mentioned, India are an obvious threat, and England have got some great depth to their team. So it's going to be exciting to see it all unfold. I just hope that the matches in the evening don't kind of have a trend of the Jew factor kicking in, and it's win the toss, win the game. That's my only question mark against this tournament.
Well, at this stage, that's exactly what's happened. Mm-hmm. And even in the IPL, I don't know whether you saw that match where RCB and Kohli chose to bat on an obvious bowl first wicket, and then they lost, and I still don't know what happened there. That was okay. It's ironic. We've had a toss now for the West Indies South Africa match, and South Africa won the toss and chosen to bowl. I love it when they say on ESPN, they've got this bad habit of saying South Africa chose to field. No one chooses to field, Simon. You bat or bowl, correct? Would you choose to field? No one's going to. You choose to bat or bowl. I don't
Absolutely,
like that.
Yeah. Good point.
So South Africa chose to bowl, which almost tells me that puts them in a slight box seat for this match. We'll wait and see. That'll be very interesting. All right, so any other thoughts that you got on cricket at the moment? Obviously, you're fledgling cricket. Tell us a bit about how that's going. because you've got a lot of players coming through your ranks that are at all ages are going really well, aren't you? Both male and female, I've noticed. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's just it's nothing major really, Norman. It's just trying to provide help and support to young aspiring cricketers, both male and female. And you know, it's got some momentum, mainly from a coaching perspective. But we started some matches this year as well to give youngsters the opportunity to play more matches, because it seems that you know, the fixture schedules here are declining at club level. So we're developing a wandering side just to go around and play whoever wants a game.
No, but it's obviously going well. I mean, from what I can see, you've got a lot of followers. It's growing. It's heading in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, obviously with COVID, we had a few challenges. So you know, we'd love to develop an international academy here next summer. You know, where players from overseas can come and play club cricket and get coaching and support from us. Again, as part of their development journey, really.
That'll happen.
Yeah, so things are going along nicely, and then the other part of our business is coach development. You know, the coaching or the qualified coach who needs support on their journey, and that's a market that is growing quickly for us, and you know, it's great to play a part in that as well.
Oh, excellent. Oh, excellent. So, Simon, you're always welcome. You know, I send you enough links anyway, but whenever you've got time, you know, we'll have a bevy of people coming on. David's been on a number of times. He enjoys it, especially talking about the way that England's coming to the fore. Now, the England squad, we haven't talked about them that much, but really, Adil Rashid was amazing. Moeen Ali is just gone another level. It's quite incredible how he's got a form of renaissance going on. I think that he's given up on Test cricket, correct? But he hasn't given up.
Yeah, and I think that's a really sensible decision for him. You know, his one-day cricket, T20 cricket in the last 2 years is just continued to become better and better and win matches. So, you know, it is tough in these bio bubbles. You know, being a multi-format cricketer, you know, mentally it can be really, really draining from what the players have told me. So it's no surprise, but those two are going to have a massive impact on whether England win the World Cup or not. You know, they've got
also Tyler Mills, and of course, Wokes is there. They've got, despite not having a lot of noted names not there, they're still doing extremely well, aren't they? I mean,
yeah, and I think this is the thing. They've got depth. You know, they've got bench players now in white ball cricket. Good depth. You know, there's a number of players that they could pick. You know, probably less so in red ball cricket. I think that's probably been neglected a little bit in the last few years. And we'll find out how good we are when we play the Ashes. My gut feel is we're going to be a little bit off the pace, even with Stokes in the team. But from a white ball point of view, you know, England have been competitive, whether it's been in home, away series, or in tournaments. So,
I just mentioned Quinton de Kock, didn't I?
Yeah.
Before. You want to hear what's just come out? Remember, Bavuma's just said it's been a bit challenging to know what a good score was, so we want to have a look. Therefore, he's bowling first. Huge news: Quinton de Kock is out. Bavuma has said he's made himself unavailable due to personal reasons.
There you go.
So there's something that sounds quite dramatic to be not playing a World Cup match because of personal reasons is almost reflecting what I thought was happening. I picked up.
Well, I didn't know anything about that when I was commenting on South African cricket earlier. So it just backs it up. Really, it's sad when you've got world class players like de Kock not playing in major tournaments, as it was with AB de Villiers. You know, it tells you something's not quite right there.
Well, the West Indies have put in. They've left out Obed McCoy, but they've put in Hayden Walsh. Well, at least Chris knows him. Chris played with him, and I believe you might know him too. Hayden, you know Hayden Walsh, don't you?
No, I don't know him. I don't know
Oh,
him.
okay. Well,
So,
Chris
yeah.
does. Chris actually played with him
Okay.
in one of
In
the
the Kent
teams he
League,
was playing.
probably. Yeah.
Kent League. Yeah. So he's in there. So yeah, it's an interesting development. But look, I'm not so negative about the West Indies. I think, especially now hearing Quinton de Kock's not playing, you'd think that's a blow to their team. At least structurally, it can't be good. He's
No,
literally
West Indies. West Indies for me should win this game today. Absolutely.
I think they will too. I think the South Africans could well be the bottom dwellers of their group. They've got such a difficult group to start with even Bangladesh there. That Bangladesh are very capable of beating South Africa.
For sure.
Or Bangladesh, then Sri Lanka should beat them. So South Africa may not could go without winning a game.
There's every chance. Yeah, there's every chance. And who would have thought we would have been talking about this, 10 years ago? It's as I say, it's sad to see, but what can be done? It's basically down to politicians.
But that political influence, full well, happens in a lot of other countries as well. When presidents start to select sides, when presidents get involved, when it's happened. I mean, even Pakistan, they're going really, really well. But they had a very destabilising period just before they played. They lost their coach, didn't they? Misbah al-Haq, and they lost, who's the bowling ace, who I should know? Waqar Younis.
Waqar Younis, yeah.
They were both in the...
Yeah, so what tends to happen in the Asian countries is that management are only appointed for a 2-year period because of the political issues associated with it. So it's no surprise. The CEO, who's a good friend of mine, obviously resigned and came back to England, Wasim Khan. Ramiz Raja has been appointed as the head man, took over. So he obviously wants his people involved. So yeah, it's no surprise, but the players are used to it. That's the big thing in these countries, that they're used to it. So they just focus on what they can control, which is playing cricket. And
they've got Sir Clay as the coach. They had literally 2 players that were almost virtually like coaches, Hafiz and Malik. They're certainly probably at a point now where they're almost Chris Gale age, aren't they? But they're still in the side. But it works. It's working.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they've got Matty Hayden there now as well, as one of the coaches. So yeah, like you say,
well.
yeah, coaches are there to help and support it. It's the players that count, and as long as you've got the right players and got the right mentality, you're giving yourself the best chance to perform. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things evolve. But I think the Pakistan team are in a good place.
I'll have this bit of joking here. Behram, who's a regular on the show, Pakistan changes coaches like Victoria's Secret models change boyfriends. And then Tim Wilton Davies very quickly said, speaking from personal experience, Behram, he may well be. So the comments are coming. How much time have you got, Simon?
Yeah, I'm cool. I'm cool for a bit. Yeah, no problem.
Okay. All right.
So where's the Ashes going on?
Well, you mean in terms of the location? Are you talking about?
No.
Well, we're very fortunate, and I'll give you an example in terms of the COVID relationship, which was certainly a concern when we talk about certainly the wives of the English players not being allowed or being allowed. That seems to be sorted. In New South Wales specifically, as of November 1st, you're able to travel freely out and travel freely in without quarantine, which is a big plus. I'm pretty sure that Queensland will follow suit, but much later on, and Victoria's close. So that's a good sign that players can move about somewhat. So the only concern is about Western Australia and the location of that test, and potentially Queensland because of COVID, because those 2 states have been extremely, like Fort Knox. That would only mean an extra Sydney or Melbourne test, which I don't think is going to bother anybody. It may, in fact, favour England somewhat, those grounds, I would argue, a little bit. But look, the reality is England have got to have both Anderson and Broad together again. Mark Wood's included. You've got Ben Stokes back. You haven't got Archer. England are firming. I believe England are firming. I actually like the England batting lineup. I think they're stuck by Zach Crawley. They're stuck by him. David Milan's got a Guernsey again. I don't mind those players for Australian conditions. Australia are still, Justin Langer's gone by May next year. That's fact, almost. He's not going to renew his contract. He may go earlier. Then you've got an Australian team which doesn't quite know its opening partnership. Usman Khawaja's been getting runs. He probably deserves another go. Pekoski's had another headache, another knock on the head. Warner's in, oh my God. David Warner's in Gargoyle, and he's played terribly for some time now. You know that he was sacked twice in the IPL team, and Trevor Bayliss was behind both of them. And I think you know Trevor. Do you know Trevor? Well,
very well, yeah.
And he's a great coach, in my opinion. Of course, he had responsibility. He was Sri Lankan coach when you were there.
No. He was there before me. He was there with Paul Farbrace. Yeah.
But to me, Trevor Bayliss is he was a part of the England makeup, of course. He's a great coach. So he doesn't suffer fools too much, and he didn't take to Warner's not announcing. Did you see that game where Warner for Sunrise Hyderabad was captain and did not actually bother to say the four debutants, the Indian debutants for that game, passed the sheet over and said, guys, you work it out. And he was promptly sacked the next game. Well, so Australia's got a lot of woes. It's quite disturbing. I mean, their bowling line's pretty strong. They've lost James Pattinson. We've got no depth to our bowlers. That means we really haven't. I mean, they've got Nessa, maybe Jai Richardson, but those guys haven't really come to form yet. If Hazel Cummins or the likes of Stark, if they cop an injury, we're out of our depth of bowlers. We could be in a bit of trouble, to be honest with you. We're a little bit brittle at the moment without admitting to it. And if they don't get their act together, and if you listen to the interviews, there's a lot of attempted cohesion in the discussion, but they talk in different levels. And Steve Smith is still maintaining he has a captaincy role, but that's not in anything in the mind of both Payne and Langer for the series. So what's going on there? I don't know. And if you can't get an opening partner for Warner, if Warner's there himself, Khawaja Curtis Patterson will probably be an inclusion. He's captain of New South Wales this year. Jason Sanger's another one. But they can't bring back Travis Head and Wade again. They were dropped from the squad. Now they're back in. There's something not right. Just because you do well in domestic form a couple of games shouldn't just mean instantaneously you're back in the team. That's too, there's a reason why they were dropped in the first place. And I think Stokes' inclusion is huge, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. It'll motivate the team, absolutely. And, he'll want to do well after quite a bit of time out the game. I think it's going to come down to the batting lineups. I really do. Who's going to score the most runs? And if you're looking at England's batting lineup, it's been so reliant on Root for a good couple of years. I think Australia will win. I really do. I don't think it'll be a massive win. I think it'll be a tight series because of the reasons you've given. I don't think either team's got a dominant batting lineup, but I just feel Australia at home in those conditions. I think they've just got a little bit more.
Having said that, though, we lost the last game we saw Australia play Test cricket at home at the Gabba against India, and they have not played a Test match since then.
Yeah, fair comment.
That's a long time. England's had plenty of Test match experience over the summer. So that's why I think England are a better place. Australia has not, they're not even playing as Afghanistan. That game's been virtually called off as well. So they've got no Test time at all.
All I'd say is that England have played a lot of cricket, but that means they've been in bio bubbles for a long time as well. And psychologically, unless England start well, if they go out there and win the first Test match, that will help. But being in the bio bubbles, talking to players is tough. From a mental health point of view, there are a number of players who have had to have time out the game or have struggled, particularly if they've come back to county cricket. They've just, said the bio bubble side of things has had a big impact. So, England have not got a great record of winning the first Test match. I know they did in India last winter. but they don't have a great record at starting well in the first test. So, as I say, it's going to be tight. But my gut feel is saying Australia for some reason.
Okay, on that bubble scenario, if they don't play in Queensland and WA, which is very much on the cards, and they keep it New South Wales, Victoria, and say South Australia, we may well see no bubble at all.
Okay. Well, that will play a big part, and that could play a big part.
Well, we're going to have 90% plus vaccination rates, which will basically determine that it'll be free movement. So then you would expect the players wouldn't be necessarily in that same control either. So there's a very good chance that certainly in New South Wales and Victoria, despite there being COVID numbers, the rate is high enough of vaccination that will mean that they'll be able to keep out of that. The other funny thing is I'm sure you've heard if you've had booster shots going on in England. Well, I know people have gone to the airport recently, COVID-19 negative and double vaxxed, and couldn't leave because they were given a prick test and there was no vaccination in their blood and were told to go home.
Wow.
So I'd be getting booster shots whether you need it or not, to be honest. Anyway, it's a lot better than what it was, even though the numbers are higher. I mean, Melbourne's got still 1,400 new cases a day, but vaccination rates are very high. We never had 1,400 at any stage. Even New Zealand's recording sizable numbers. But we're going through this vaccination resurgence where that could well lead to a better situation. But no, that's interesting. Look, I think the Ashes, you're saying Australia, I'm saying England.
Wow.
I think Ben Stokes is absolutely huge. And the dissension in the Australian ranks that we're hearing in the papers is especially around Justin Langer and McDonald's being the deputy there. And he has the room, so to speak, whereas Langer doesn't have the room. That's a bit bizarre to start with. Whether we get a Jason Gillespie next May or whether we get a Trevor Bayliss or even the likes of a Ponting floating around with names as being a future Australian coach. But Justin Langer's not in the good books with the players anyway.
What's the background to that, Norman? Because I'm a bit off the pace.
Okay. A lot of reasons. I mean, he's been very tough on the players and in some cases overly tough. And then there's the management side, the coaching, it's not the coaching side, the captaincy side of things, where the supporters him playing and Steve Smith coming out mid-year saying, I'm going to pledge to be the next captain, and Langer saying, no way. And there's an element of dissension between Smith/Warner and the camp. That's one thing. But it's just that he's been too heavy on the players. It's been a very stressful environment. Apparently, he took a lot of, the expectations were extremely high, and it dealt with it in a very difficult way. He's, despite being a lovely guy, as I know it, and I mean, you've got people that know him very well as well. Lovely guy, but his coaching technique is full on, perhaps overly so. And it's not been, it could have been a combination of the bubbles as well. But then again, Australia haven't played much bloody cricket, have they? No. And then how many of the players went to the West Indies? How many of the players went to Bangladesh? Hardly any of the squads. They didn't. All the players that they fractured. Some went to the IPL. Smith was saying he won't play IPL to get ready for the he won't play World Cup to get ready for the Ashes. Then all of a sudden he's playing for the World Cup. There's confusion all over the place as to what's going in the background. And look, I'm not saying Langer's not a good coach. I just think he's gone too hard, and his expectations were too high. And players had their back up against it a little bit. And I don't think that Wade and Travis Head were well liked under the Trevor Holmes so-called selections. And now that we've got George Bailey in now, that may change things. And they've used Tony Dolomay's come in. Now Tony Dolomay's more of an administrator, not a selector. So what's going on there? There's a bit. The only positive that Australia's got for Cricket Australia is Nick Hockley. He's a great CEO. I think he's doing a good job. But there's still this element of uncertainty going on that's especially around Justin Langer. And look, there was a strong suggestion he wouldn't be coaching the Ashes, but he is. But he's gone by May next year at the latest, which is not very. That doesn't.
Even if he wins the Ashes or the World Cup.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, he won't win the World Cup. Let's put that to one side.
Never say never.
Yeah, if he did, it'd be like that famous ice skater that everybody fell over and he went across the line. I don't think Australia's even going to go close to making the semis, to be honest. They'll be just above South Africa, if you ask me. As far as Ashes are concerned, with Ben Stokes there, look, and Darwin Milan, I mean, really, you know, he and Zach Crawley in Australia will handle it quite well. They both are batters that will be suited to the conditions. So I don't think England are as bad as people think. And I mean, they rely on Joe Root. I get that. But no, Anderson and Broad, they'll be one of their last. But Anderson, come on, he's been really good, hasn't he?
Oh, look, he's been outstanding. I will never ever question what they've done, but
no.
you just question what's in front of you. And for me, when England have been successful in Australia, they've got tall bowlers that can bowl quick. You know, and that's what worries me a little bit about our attack. Is it's a little bit samey and lacks pace, and I think that could be the difference between your attack. You know, Stark, Hazelwood, and Cummins and Stark in particular. Hazelwood will be your grinder that just, you know, works away hitting a length, and the other two, you know, going hard at us. So. I think someone's already put it up there. You know, Tim, you know, said Jimmy Anderson always needs a few overs to get up to speed. I think that's a fair observation. You know, he doesn't always bang it out in that first Test match. So we shall see. It's always an enlightening view. And
but it is interesting how you're saying Australia, I'm saying England. That's interesting. But look, one of those three bowlers have an injury. Then what is the question?
Yeah, and again, you know, you know the depth better than I do.
Well, James Patterson is just basically retired.
Yeah,
He'd be playing domestic cricket, but not Test cricket. Nasa's military medium. He's not fast. Then the Jai Richardson is okay, but he's not.
Where's Sean Abbott these days? Because he used to be able to bowl a quick ball.
Yeah, he's there too, but he's been bowling well in the short form, not the long form. He's there. Sean Abbott certainly is there, but honestly, they haven't got the depth. They really haven't, and we'll see if those three cannot play all 5 tests. I'm pretty certain if they can't, that'll expose Australia somewhat. Don't worry. And I mean, we'll see if they're going to be going straight from the World Cup straight into the Test series virtually, so they're not going to have a lot of time to rest.
But then you could say the same thing about the England bowling attack. You know, Mark Wood's not going to play all 5 tests, and he's your quickest bowler.
Yeah, but is Mark Wood playing in the World Cup here? He is, isn't he? He is
yeah,
playing the T20.
Yeah.
Okay. But both Broad and Anderson are not, are they? They're not playing in the World Cup.
Ollie Robinson won't be. You know, Ollie Robinson will be. I'd say he'd be a similar sort of bowler to someone like a Stewie Clark. You know, he's going to have to rely on relentless accuracy because he's not going to get the movement of the Kookaburra ball that he gets with the Duke's ball. But he will get bounced. He will get bounced.
But have a look at the England side. How many of them are in the World Cup? Root's not there. Anderson, Broad are not there. Ollie Robinson's not there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there are quite a few players that are actually resting as we speak.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, there's quite a few there. So, whereas the Australians, pretty much all of them, well, maybe some of the batters are not, but most of the bowling unit, Nathan Lyon's not, but that's not neither here nor there. But the full opening bowling, or the top 3 bowlers are all there in the World Cup. So they're going to be more.
So they'll be ready then. They'll be ready because they haven't played much cricket.
Well, look, okay. To me, I think it's a lot closer and a lot more, especially with Ben Stokes in there. I think he's going to be extremely important. All right, I wanted to finish before the match starts with just look at the South African sides. You got, listen to this for a team. Razor Hendricks, he's come in for de Kock. Temba Bavumas opening the batting and captaining, which is overwhelming for a player that is not a captain, in my opinion, nor is he an opening batter in this format. Markram's been impressive. I thought Markram was pretty impressive. Then you got Rassie van der Dusen they're talking about, but got out first ball. So I'm waiting to see him do something. And then you've got David Miller, who's pretty damn good he's an all-round capability.
Definitely, yeah.
Henrik Klassen, he's now the keeper, actually. I thought he was. He looked okay in the previous match. Pretorius looked okay. Rabada, and their bowling unit's not bad, though. Rabada, Maharaj, Norgay, and Shamsi's not a bad bowling unit, but their batting's atrocious, honestly.
Absolutely. Agreed.
West Indies, Evan Lewis, Chris Gale, is he opening? I'm not sure. Lendl Simmons, Hetmeyer, Puran, Pollard, Russell, Dwayne Bravo, Akil Hossain, who's not a bad little spinner. Hayden Walsh, he bowled well too. And Ravi Rampal.
It's a name from the past. It's an old name, isn't it?
Yeah, too old in my opinion. So anyway, that's their side. So it's gone more spin-friendly for sure. All right, thanks, Simon. Well, I'm thinking a lot more positively for Sri Lanka. They gave Bangladesh a nice old smacking. They did very well in the qualifiers. They're building up nicely up to these next matches. The test is Australia, but I would argue they're a better side, as you did. If they win against Australia, they're putting themselves in a pretty good situation to knock on the door for a semi-final, for sure.
Absolutely. You know, it's really exciting for everyone involved with the team and in the country. You know, and from my perspective, you know, if they can go deep into the tournament, then it shows the progress that's been made over the last 5 years, and that's all you can ask. As long as there's improvement and progress, hopefully, eventually you'll get to where you want to get to. And you know, this is a good bunch of kids. They're good kids. They work hard. They train hard. So I really hope they get what they deserve.
Excellent. Well, thanks for your time, Simon. I appreciate it. We're about to go into the match now. Your tips, of course, were West Indies and Pakistan.
West Indies for this game today, and Pakistan for yes.
Not for the winners of the World Cup. I meant to say West Indies to beat South Africa, Pakistan to beat New Zealand. Finalists, you're saying potentially Pakistan, England, India, and the fourth side was Sri Lanka.
Absolutely. We'll catch up soon, Norman. Thank you very much. Great to see you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Simon.
Take care. See you guys.
Everybody follow at 2020 Fledglings there and get a good look at what Simon does. And get people, especially from India, when you want to go to travel to England and play cricket, Simon's your man.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Simon. It's great to have Simon Willis on the show there. Aparna Sani will be joining shortly. I might even bring Barama if he wants to come on. But West Indies are in bat. Of course, South Africa won the toss and the bowling. Lendl Simmons is with Evan Lewis opening up, with Aiden Markram opening the first over there with his spin. I'm not going anywhere, guys. Tim and No Name, I'm not going anywhere at all. Pakistan win today against New Zealand. We've just about seen Pakistan move themselves into a semi-final spot. They beat India and New Zealand, the other two top teams in their side, and they have Afghanistan, Scotland, and Namibia. They should beat Scotland and Namibia easily. That means they'll win 4 of their matches. And Afghanistan, you would argue they should beat them too. They could win all 5 of their matches and be a definite semi-finalist. Hopefully then with India to join them. And then on the other side, England, you would think, depending on how things go, West Indies or a Sri Lanka. But we'll see how well Sri Lanka do today. Or sorry, more so West Indies today. West Indies win this match, it's important. And then, of course, the game on the next few days, there'll be quite a few good games. Obviously, we're coming to an Australia-Sri Lanka match, which is oh so important for both teams. Australia lose that, they're heading for some problems, I would argue. So, guys, we've got quite a program here. Pakistan winning today would then make New Zealand versus India a literal quarterfinal. You're right. That's true. The India-New Zealand game will become extremely crucial, especially for India, and clearly for New Zealand as well, because really Pakistan win today, they're odds on to beat the next 3 teams. So they'll win all 5 of their matches, their group matches, puts them through to the semi-final without doubt, and then may play potentially they're going to be first then potentially in their group 2, with group 1 a lesser side like a West Indies or a Sri Lanka to play Pakistan in one of the semi-finals, which should see Pakistan go right through. And then an England versus an India, which will be a very difficult match to call. But if India get through, then we could easily have that. My video is lagging a lot now. What do you mean by lagging? What do you mean by lagging? Oh. You're not hearing me? What do you mean? Can you explain? Everybody can hear me clearly, I hope. Okay, I got that now. Okay, good. All right, so we are looking at a situation where, we've got the game starting now. Linda Lewis and Aiden Marcus bowled it over for 4 runs. It's quite tidy. You would never have thought South Africa with their Rabada, Norgay opening lineup would have something like that going on. It's quite bizarre. Very interesting indeed, guys. Let's have a look here. Very interesting indeed, guys. I'll try to work it through. Okay. Buffering. Very interesting indeed. Yeah, I've just heard that. I don't know what it's doing. Let me have a quick look, guys. Let me just see what I can do. The whole, all that's going all right. So is that better? Tell me, guys. All right, we seem to be, okay. Can Afghanistan, with their starting spin attack, upset big teams? Afghanistan certainly can. They're in a position. Yash Campbell doing on paper. RSA looks lost and weak. It certainly does. I mean, really, the West Indies should take hold of this match. We've got Rabada bowling his first over. Very interesting situation indeed. So I'm going to start on for this match, guys, and we're going to talk about this match leading into the Pakistan match against New Zealand, which is a blockbuster to say the least. There's no doubt about that's going to be very important for both teams. You'd think that would be the case. Parnasani's not around, but India will win this World Cup. I'm getting a message. I think India have to pick themselves up a bit off the ground after being knocked to the canvas by Pakistan. Pakistan, they beat New Zealand there, then really on the box seat to go right through and play into a semi-final berth, which is quite incredible. But it should be against if they win their group, it'll mean England will play India in one semi-final with Pakistan versus either a West Indies or a Sri Lanka in the other, which will be a little bit hard to comprehend that one for sure. All right, guys, any comments? So what else we got? Anything else that you'd like to discuss? Obviously, South Africa versus West Indies should be a victory to West Indies. West Indies should be able to do South Africa as they've got a side which is capable of beating South Africa indeed. Bhawanesh Pandey today, if New Zealand win, so India will have difficulty to qualify. If New Zealand win, I think I would argue that it'll get if Pakistan win, that makes it more open. You're right. No, you're probably right, but I cannot see Pakistan losing to New Zealand on the form we saw. The other thing is there's such a high from beating India the previous, only a matter of 24, 48 hours ago, from such a high to playing a New Zealand team. Could be a little bit hard to adjust, and they might come out a little bit, off a high. They might be a little bit lackadaisy, a little bit. You'd hope not. All right. Let's see if I can pull up a few other people for the show. So let's see who we can get on. Baramarani. That's just sending a few invites out, guys, to people. And get them to come up because it was very much the Simon Willis presentation. Simon Willis, of course, is the high performance coach for a number of sides, including England and Sri Lanka. Very impressive indeed. Chris Vernon. There we have quite a few players. Naresh, Gargi, see that. There's a certain lack of impetus caused by the Western Indies will be on today. I'm just trying to get a few things sorted, guys. Bear with me a minute. We've certainly had a lot of interest in these matches because the more the game's gone, the more you'll get that coverage. I'm just trying to bring people on. We might just see whether we can get. Okay, so we can never overlook the fact that Pakistan is a really strong team. They need to get rid of the unpredictability tag. People will take them seriously. Well, they're going to be tested today because they're coming back from a situation where they were on an incredibly high point, really quite high. It's quite damning indeed. The partner that's meant to be here. So we get Munchie. Munchie came in a bit earlier. Marcus Lawrence, that his name is. Okay, so yeah, the Pakistan game is becoming more and more pertinent because, of course, what we've seen with the Indian match, of course, the way in which that series has gone has been quite phenomenal. Let's be honest. I mean, that's an incredibly impressive match in the scheme of things. Don't know whether they've got the match on there. Because people have gone and done what we asked them to do. Here we have this. The ask. Hi, Quick Legends. Aiden Markham has certainly come on bold. I don't know. Arkham's Bavoom there. Aiden Markham with his spinning. He's not known to be their spinning option. West Indies are quite cautious about the way they're batting. I mean, clearly, you know, we're a long way from knowing where this match will be at, because pretty important for South Africa and West Indies. Probably more so important to West Indies. West Indies deserve to be there. They deserve to be in the mix, and we're not seeing that at this point. So let's have a quick look here. We've just got making sure that we've got a few things here. But it really, I mean, Quick Legends and No Name, as we put it, we need to, you know, get some information on this game. To me, there's amazing interest in this series now. Really, quite amazing. Well, South Africa winning the toss and to bowl is probably the right thing to do. Whether or not they've got enough firepower South Africa to keep that to bat well enough for the second is interesting. So West Indies or Sri Lanka are the teams that Simon Lewis picked. He thinks more Sri Lanka, actually. England is certainly in the mix. Then you've got obviously Pakistan and India. They're the ones that have been most impressive as far as we're concerned. South Africa looks destined to. South Africa are really off badly. Well, they're doing okay at the bottom at the moment. I mean, for heaven's sake, West Indies are batting quite slowly, but they might have a big crescendo towards the end. They're trying to make sure they don't lose their wickets. They're none for 8 into their 4th over. It's very slow. We should see an explosion happen very soon. Scotland showed their wares, unfortunately, against against a very red hot Afghanistan. Afghanistan absolutely clobbered them. Didn't know what. It was a very poor situation there. So Simon Willis, earlier in the show, talked about a lot of the Sri Lankan players and the way they've come through. He was Sri Lankan youth and their bowling and the unknown capabilities of some of the players is certainly there for the impression of what's going to happen. A lot of the teams don't know how to face these bowlers. Let's look at the first example. Australia have not faced all these young Sri Lankan bowlers. They're going to be pretty much trying to work out what the hell's going on when they face them. And you don't really want to find out in the middle of a match, do you? You want to be able to find it prior to that match going ahead. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But the West Indies, really, they haven't lost a wicket so far. They're 11 into their fourth over. 8 and 4 overs is a slower run rate than the Test match. What's going on? Well, let's just give it another over or two. I think Evan Lewis and Lendl Simmons will go nuts very shortly. And they can turn the match around very quickly. They're going out of their way not to lose early wickets and probably be away from the Rabadas a little bit. But Rabada's there to hit as well. To me, Rabada's a bowler you can get to because of the sheer pace that he bowls with. It's quite impressive indeed. So, let's see. Let's see. So Sumanth Shashi saying, I'm feeling crying after loss by Pakistan, but credit has to be given to their board. Exactly. There's no point in crying about it. Look, it's better for a team like India to lose their first match like that rather than the last match. Early Shastri is still there. He's mentally going to say, right, we've been beaten. It just tells you that Pakistan will come out firing. And they're going to be there. And it'll mean that it could turn out that India might play England in the semi-final, which is a lot more difficult than semi-final. But we know India can win that and then play Pakistan in the final. Oh my God, what a final that would be to have Pakistan versus India. Due factor favoured Pakistan. It did. Yeah, winning the toss was essential. So is it probably here as well. So let's just see what actually happens, whether winning the toss is going to be a significant thing here as well. We'll see. Lendl, Evan Lewis is starting. He's just hit a 4 and a 6. He's kind of just taken to Rabada actually. So look there, just these two gave us a little bit of a start. This loss is a reality check for Team India. Hope they buckle up or book on one-way tickets to some other country. They're not going to lose. I think that's one of the last ones they'll lose. India will bounce back. But they're going to be watching very closely and probably hoping that Pakistan actually do beat New Zealand because it'll just make their semi-final berth a bit more palatable. Evan Lewis and these two, under 20 off, they're going to pick up the post. It's picking up now. Fiorita's legendary. Well, I feel sorry for our king. Yeah, had he won the toss, he would have bowled first. And may have been a very different complexion of the match altogether. Let's not forget that. All right, so Evan Lewis is on 14, having hit a 4 and a 6. His strike is 100. Little is a bit more marked, a bit more controlled. You'd have to say that this, it's exciting for sure. Lewis is certainly more circumspect, I must say, than anyone else. Just have to wait and see what happens with some of these. Still too early to tell, guys. Too early to tell. Lots of lags. I don't know why there are lots of lags. Okay. I've got full. Is it better, guys? This is winning now would lead to a muddle. Okay. We'll be right. It's just the time of day. It's probably a bit too much traffic going on, guys. So that was a shot there out of the ground. Lewis has gone to 20 now. Now we're starting to smoke, guys. Now we're starting to smoke. None for 26. So Africa's bowling's just not that good. It's taken a bit of time. They got used to the pitch, and now they're going for it. Not forgetting the West Indies were smashed the previous match. They're not going to let this happen in this match. They're going to be a little bit more determined, and they could well set a pretty decent total. Narayan as a bowler they should have. So New Zealand's known to surprise everyone in the World Cup. Well, they're going to have to do some pretty. They're going to have to show their wares against Pakistan early on. That's going to be a bit of an ask, if you ask me. We'll wait and see about that one. And he's done it again. He's gone again. That's the second 6 in a row. Lewis seems to just bided his time, and he's now just taking off. They're 32 into the 5th. The run rate's going to go. We thought it was slow. It was like a launching pad being created. So I don't know whether there's any problem here with the West Indies. I think they're going to show their wares. Oh, magnificent shot. 81 metres. Great deal of ease at the moment. I think we're going to see a big total from West Indies. They're going to just cruise for a little bit longer. He's played a similar shot again. This time it won't be another 4. Oh my God. Lewis has just gone 2 6s and a 4, and the score is 36 after 5. So the actual run rate's now gone to 7. From 2 or something to 7. And no uncertainty here. I think these guys know what they're doing. Yeah, that's true. Rizwan's just mentioned on a commentary, Debash has seen that the amount of stress in their situation. Finally, I was worried where they would be going with 2 runs and they will. Don't worry on. South Africa, bye-bye. If New Zealand West Indies keep this up, West Indies will crash through South Africa. And West Indies made us have this. We mustn't think early form can be distracting. Not with Pakistan. Pakistan will deservedly have they beat New Zealand, they're through to the semis. But other side of West Indies had a poor start, they can still come back. India will certainly come back. South Africa, I think they're going to go further down. And Australia will meet a very informed Sri Lankan side and will also have a bit of difficulty there as well. So let's just see. So the projection's already, Norgay's coming out. He's a much better bowler. Looks like Lionel Simmons is not quite in form. He's struggling a bit with 4 off 11 or 12. So he's struggling, whereas Lewis has got 30 off 19. Well, maybe in their partnership forming, they can get their act together. Let's hope. Again, who's going to win between Pakistan and like that? That's the match that's going to. This match at this point, you would argue West Indies should really bring it home. South Africa is out of their depth at the moment. They're going to struggle to beat any side. I think Bangladesh will either knock them off. Sri Lanka certainly will in this form. There's another good shot. Oh, no, it hasn't quite gone where expected. Lewis is basically teeing off now. That he's got to be careful, Evan Lewis, not to just tee off and get out. As they did in the previous match against England, they've got to continue this way, but in a manner where they're in charge. Now, where are they playing? They're playing at looks like Dubai. Yeah, they're playing at Dubai in the daytime. Norgay's a very good bowler, though. But Evan Lewis doesn't care too much about whether Plex can bowl. He's just hit another magnificent 4. Remember the name, Evan Lewis. I think maybe internet connection issues. So I'm not having any issues. I'm not seeing anything wrong. So what's up from your end, guys? You should be getting full bars here. Evan Lewis has just teed off again. Wasn't a bad delivery. It was just a particularly good shot. Sri Lanka from nowhere with young talents have come up well, and they must be proud. Sumanth Rashid, you're right. They're building nicely, actually. West Indies will be seething over their loss, and then now 34 is Evan Lewis in no time at all. Evan Lewis, remember the name. It's a bit like Carlos Braithwaite, isn't it? Another good shot. Not quite. Yeah, there's a reception problem, guy. Your voice is too lagging. Harsh, just give it a minute, Harsh. Stop. It'll come. Okay, it'll come. I'm not aware of it. It may be a mobile problem because I'm getting full bars. I'm here. I'm still here. Just bear with me, guys. Maybe the time of day should be clearer now. Okay, so Western is a none for 42 after 5.4 overs. Having not lost a wicket, they're in a good position. Simmons is not taking off yet. And some poor keeping there by Klassen. No Quentin de Kock. That's a huge. They have got no batting at all. Really. I mean, Aiden Markham can't do it on his own. Bavuma's subpar. That's it. But Van der Ploegen's last one ball last performance. So, did a catch? Klassen had no idea. Klassen's getting protection from ball that he should be catching. Not good keeping. Is it 3-6? It could affect the lane. I'm not sure. I don't, Tim. I don't change it for any of these broadcasts. So what it's always been is what it is now. So I don't know what the problem is. It can't be a problem. Scotland batsmen were not able to touch the ball. It's about Russia and they've all very well those 2 spinners. Can you hear me now, guys? Lendl Simmons playing Test cricket. That's right. But his opening partner, Lewis, is batting like a champion. So put that in perspective a little bit, guys. Klassen is keeping. I don't think he knows how to keep. Or they didn't expect Quentin de Kock to not be available. Has to be what I would argue there. We can hear you. No, I thought so. We can hear you. I'm not worried about the hearing. So Keshav Maharaj, really not a bad bowler, but only had 5 T20 international career matches. More of a test player. They are in a bit of trouble, if you ask me. The old South Africa. If Gale is the best as an opener, he may be harsh, but I don't think it's going to matter too much where he bats. Given a good start. 43 off 6, so they're going 7 over, which means 140. They push to 160, 170. Good bowling to South Africa. We'll see them lose. Evan Lewis is in form. No doubt about that. Klassen hasn't got a clue. 1 over too many for Marker and power play. I think so. Maharaj is a good bowler, but yeah. Evan Lewis doesn't think so. They've got to keep going. Was there an edge? Yeah, it looks like the keeper had no idea. Klassen. Now, the Haley Smith, he's a pretty good player. I'll also look here. Maharaj is doing pretty well for a first over. What about this 360-degree camera? So first in IPL, and now we're waiting with it. Yeah, I'm not that big a fan of it, actually. I wonder where a partner is. So in this situation,
to the voicemail system. Welcome.
yeah, not impressed with the phones. All right. What do you think about hotspot technology? Why isn't it used? Actually, you're asking too many questions for me. I'm not sure whether it's not my technical expertise to know what goes on with that sort of situation. But look, they're trying out new things. You've got to give them credit for that, for sure. 146 onto 7, dropped a little bit in the over. The best angles they can get is what they'll do, and you have to respect that, I guess. Nicholas Poran seems to have his pads on. Ravi Rumpole looks like he's about 60. Yeah, he looks very different. Looks much older. This is Norgay coming into bowl to Simmons. Simmons is very, very awkward the way he's playing, I must say. Gale, Hetmeyer, Puran, Pollard, Russell. Some pretty good batting, really, there. Dwayne Bravo, Hussein Walsh, they're the two that I was talking about. They're the ones that I'm impressed with their bowling. A lot of slow bowling, a lot of Dwayne Bravo type bowling, and Andrew Russell going to play a lot, feature a lot in this. Ravi Rumpole, yeah, I'm not sure why he's in there, but anyway, he is. Wendell Simmons is having all sorts of issues. 7 off 17, what the hell? Yeah, that's my thoughts. They need to get him sorted because he's starting to really get him off strike. Very, very sort of lackluster shot, to be honest. Yeah, Simmons is slow. You're right. Western's are difficult to beat on a flat track. Let's have a look here. Yeah, Wendell Simmons is trying too much. He's over-trying his situation. It's becoming a bit frustrating to watch. The run rate's starting to dwindle very quickly. Evan Laws has to come back on strike. And he will. He will. Very significant match. And when your home address in Australia. Why didn't he my name? I'm in Coogee in Sydney, Australia. Coogee Beach. Yeah, they've done very well, Ellingham. My home address is in Coogee Beach, which is effectively Coogee, Sydney, Australia. Klassen had no idea what he was doing with the keeping then. All right, so how much distance from Sydney to Perth? Is 5 to 5.5 hours flying time. 5 to 5.5 hours flying time. So, my God, it's probably into 20,000 kilometers. Probably not that far, but it's Around 5,000 Ks probably. 5 or 6,000 Ks. 47 after 8, so they've just fallen below 6. But now that Evan Lewis is on strike, we should see some fireworks. Well, Evan Lewis, Simmons needs to either get himself out. He's 8 off 22. He needs to either hit out or get out. Honestly, Hobart is my favourite place in Australia. Also Canberra, great. Both cold. Winners banking on likes of Gale, Rapport, Bravo. What do you make of dearth of young talent? Yeah, it's true. But then Pakistan are using Malik and Hafiz. They're not exactly young either. Maharaj has come on and bowl very tidily. But now Lewis is on bat. And he's immediately tried to hit out. And it hasn't quite worked. He's got himself as a single. Realistically, Lendl's got to get this. Evan Lewis has got to get the strike back here. New Zealand versus Pakistan is next match, Simon, as we know. So that'll be interesting. That'll be on before too long. That's the 50 up for their country. Compared to, so 50 or 53 there. Oh, magnificent shot from Overlow. It's just picked up with great ease. And that's the difference. He can come in and do these things. And a couple of those sixes will bring that run rate right back up. What do you think about Shami being abused on social? Everyone gets abused on social media, Harsh. Nothing to me. I can't. I'm not going to. You're on social media. You cop it on social media. If you don't want it, you get off. Social media is not the end of the world for these guys. So after 9 overs at 56. They've got to get the strike. So they've got to get the strike turnover here. They must turn over the strike. Big game next one. Pakistan is on that. If Pakistan win that, they're through to the final. Ravi Rumpel looks great. Christian, more. Do you think normally people in India are saying, but no, it wasn't fixed. No way you can't fix it. No, they wouldn't have fixed that. No way. No way on earth. No, because it was such a bad loss. I think that's an understandable sort of knee-jerk reaction to it, but no, that it was not the case. Shumsey's on now. He'll make a bit of a difference. But, it's going to be based on them containing the likes of Shumsey. Simmons hasn't been batting well. Oh, no more blocking. No, okay. They're giving good work. They got the strike. That was clever. These comments on cricketers affect their mind and can put them in a certain pressure. Only if they read them. Whereas one Hader and Moshin Ali. I'm trying to. India defeat is a tight slap on toxic Indian media. Pseudo hyper nationalists and motor mouth ex cricketers like Harper Shah. They only motor mouth if you listen to them. Evan Lewis should smack him in the ground. Could they go for 2? No, they're not going to go for 2. Really, after 10 overs, they're going to be around 60 odd. They need to really go for the next side of it. No idea that fixing it. It's sheer class by Pakistan. Pakistan, yeah, they were classy. Quite emphatic actually. They bowled well. Shaheen's bowling was magnificent. Lendl's starting to worry me. Lendl Simmons, that is. Need to sort out very quickly what's going on with him because he's now taking it. They need to get rid of him. That ball in which KL was out was no ball. It doesn't matter. It was taken. It was a fantastic delivery. I don't talk no balls now. No umpire was on anyone's side there. He was outside. Simple as that. Shamsi and Maharaja bowl well here. Why should I not using Duke balls? That's been a tradition. They use Kookaburra balls. Evan Lewis is absolutely clobbered Shamsi. What a shot! I think that's 50 to Lewis, and he's looking in ominous form on 30 after 32 balls. Norman, you share sports tech on your community, but Harsh, would you drop that? Harsh Gupta, would you stop asking about that? I like what sports tech do, so stop asking me about it. You asked me before. Asked me why do you keep it's in Hindi because it's important for people to get an ability to watch it. I rather like what Vikrant Gupta says. Stop asking about it. It's not a bad thing. Harsh, don't repeat questions, okay? That wasn't a no ball. Screen grab does doing a run. So, yeah, look, we don't know, but it doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter. The ball deserves a wicket. Okay, in my opinion, that's what I would say. And there's a decision here. Oh, it doesn't work it's out. No, it's gone. Kalkon with Chandris. Do you know him? Yes. Chandris is a media manager from India who's with was ICC. I've been on the show with him in Dubai, so I know him. Yeah. Nice bloke. Most of the media I know, guys, as you would imagine, we do the rounds, we talk to each other. We're all good friends. We're all the same business. We're all trying to do what we can to bring the coverage to you guys. Only support each other. Nobody detracts from anyone. So, in terms of genuine coverage here, you would argue that what age is my mum when we're getting asked? Ask me, come on, watch me. Yeah, why has Quinton de Kock Mavesov unavailable? What is the unavailability? In the middle of a World Cup, you don't make yourself unavailable. Why are you not used to Duke balls every time in every format? Look, it's horses of course. It's a bit like having people go on the left-hand side of the road or the right-hand side of the road. It's a choice the countries make. We use a Kookaburra in Australia. Duke ball's used there. The SG ball is used in India. Horses for courses. The Duke ball is used in England because it's swing ball. We use it in Australia, we'd probably get more bowlers swinging. So why would we use it? Is the question. Thought on David Miller conclusion. I think David Miller, he's got the potential to be good. So I don't know. Ashwin might never play in the World Cup. I tell you what, if Kohli has his way, that's going to be the case. Missing Javed is not in India's match. I don't think there'll be any Javo in the UAE. He'll be pretty heavily, may not be allowed in the country. If you're watching today and you haven't, driving on the left is the best. Yeah, I think so too. To me, Guys, if you're watching, please view and then like and then share. If you haven't liked this video, please like it. Don't just watch it, and then share it, and then encourage others to subscribe. Please, it helps me. Variety is good, different type of balls, different pitches against the game industry. I agree. Joe was at another sports event last week. What a sport event. Java will be just deported immediately. I think so too. Do Hayden understand Hindi and Pakistan for Instagram? I don't think so. At least Simmons has got to have a wriggle on now. I think he's got to get out. Lewis should continue. The White Kookaburra is boring. We need the Dukes. Okay. It's an England fan talking there. Oh, Lewis has not got a hold of this, or has he? He has. He has well and truly. He's 72. And Lendl Simmons has to either chance his luck and get out. Because Evan Lewis is Pakistan speak Urdu, correct? Now, Lendl Simmons has got a chance his luck now. Why? There we go. Immediate effect of bowling. So we are looking at potential of 7 runs and over now. Has he gone on to that? It looks like he has. Oh, no, he's out. He's been caught. The wrong person got out. The wrong person got out. But he's done fantastically. Evan Lewis has done 56 off 34. That was pretty essential. Yes, I'm covering both matches. The white ball barely swings, at least to use a pink ball, and they're not going. Well, maybe. Evan Law's up 56. We're going to be watching the Pakistan-New Zealand match. That's going to be interesting. Didn't hit it far enough. They were straight on the throat of a very deep. There was Rabada, who took a pretty good catch. Maharaj can't get too impressed with his bowling, surely. That was a pretty ordinary delivery, actually. A quick look whether right. So I met Irfan Pathan in Chennai at the game, the ground there in Tamil grounds in Chennai during the IPL, CSK versus Delhi Daredevils, that they were called them. Yep. How much of an impact Hayden could have possibly made? I don't think he made. Maybe calming influence, perhaps. Lightheartedness. Nicholas Poron's gone there. That's interesting. Okay. Lendl's going to start to gamble. Simmons is just plodding along like he's in defense mode. Get the fuck, excuse the French. I'm not impressed with Simon's batting. Oh, seriously, he's prodding. He's hit 13 off 30. This is a T20 match. Why they didn't back Garland, I don't know. They should have just let Garland go in there and go get loose. B. B, yeah, that was a bit delayed, wasn't it? I'm sorry. I was quite angry with the way I'm seeing Simmons bat. It's angering me. How much rate out of 5 you will give to the Oh, that was magnificent. Everything Afghanistan are doing is magnificent. They're bowling well, batting well. They're a bit of a threat. Let me imagine. Oh no, I can't even dream of what could happen if Pakistan and Afghanistan went through. Pawns immediately hit the ball beautifully, and he's got 4. They must be aggressive now. They're 7-8. There's plenty of runs out there. Hey Norm, did you know that Irfan Pavard is movie star now? He is playing an antagonistic in a movie now. Oh, I didn't know that. Afghanistan, watch out. Very, very interesting. Pakistan will beat him. It's a lovely square drive there. That's Nicholas Poran certainly taken charge here, whereas Simmons is dawdling. Look, West Indies, they've got a bit of firepower there. 1 for 82. So 12 overs. They need 2 more to make it 7-8 and over. Not bad. I mean, I'm cursing Simmons. I think it's just he should be playing the ball, getting out, not dawdling. 13 for 30. That's not good enough. Putting too much pressure on the batsman. Even Evan Lewis, they could show the pressure on him because he had to go for it. Had to go for it in an extra manner because of the fact that Lionel Simmons is just blocking. And he's falling over. They're lucky he got a single. Why would you run out and block it? 14 or 31, that's atrocious. Seven and over at the moment. One ball left. One ball left, and that's clear indication Poran wants to strike next over and doesn't want Simmons to be phasing. They've run 2. Poran and Simmons are almost in the same score, but it's taken 5 times more deliveries for Simmons to get there. Mariova Biojuice sponsor IC2. Yep. 86 off 12. Now they've got a launching pad here. They got a launching pad. Simmons has got to just basically go for it, regardless of his wicket. Okay, that's what you want. Simmons to get a single and get somebody hit the ball and strike. Wait, QDGG was dropped because of take a knee. Is that right? Wouldn't go down his knee. Was he dropped? He wasn't dropped. I think he was just basically personal reasons, I was saying. So Quinton Cox got a bit of a racist problem, has he? I didn't see that. Well, it was caught there. Nicholas Poran did his job. He was going for it, so I'll give him that credit. He's not happy with it. There's plenty of batters to come. was a fair catch. It wasn't an easy catch by any means. Now, Narayan's not in the squad. That's right. Should be. Any of the IPL stars should be in these teams. They know the grounds. They've played well on the grounds. There's no question about that. Here we go. Chris Gale, box office himself. Whereas Gale is here. Age 42. Says it all, doesn't it? Gale needs to launch almost immediately here. QDK certainly does. Okay, I'm going to be there, Dara, for the second match. Little Simmons is 15 or 30. It's shocking. What the hell was Chris Gale doing there? I do not know what Chris Gale was doing there at all. I do not know what Chris Gale was doing there. Chris Gale's laughing. Oh, I'm not laughing. Well, nobody's laughing at you batting there. Chris Gale, you're 42. Stand and deliver if you have to, but don't muck it up. As he hit the bat. Doesn't look like it. I should give Benefit down here. Uh-oh. Umpire's call. Impact umpire's call. Review retained. Not out. Poor rifle. Not out. What do you think went wrong with the Indian bowlers? Didn't manage to pick up a clean wicket. They were just outplayed. Simple as that. You can't. I'm not going to knock the bowlers. They were just outplayed by a better side of the day. Now these two are going to face some faster bowling. It should suit both these players in the way they play. Let's see how they go. Rabada coming on the bowl is Simmons, who's been very ordinary so far. He's chancing. He's getting no bat on ball properly. He's half hitting shots, playing very ordinary shots. He's going to play traditional cricket. At least look at runs that way, but he's playing these half bait shots that are going straight to field. It's awful. Absolutely awful. Simmons has been very poor. He's really held the side back. I would have put Pollard in there or Bravo. Simmons has got to go. It's got to just either get runs or get out. Good, he's gone. Thank God for that. That's actually good. That's a good thing for Western is to have Simmons out. Honestly, now we'll see some actions. Hopefully, we'll get either Bravo or Pollard. It was a good bad. Lionel Simmons was awful today. He was in horrible form. No, completely awful batting. Ugh. Was India overconfident a little bit against Pakistan? Absolutely. Pakistan had their mindset really wrong. It wasn't an interview that I wanted to upload as well. Simmons has played more than a quarter of the innings. And he's gone now. That's what I worry about. He's gone now. Pollard's in there. That'll change things, you would think. Pollard immediately showing some intent. Yeah, it's still early enough for them to get themselves out of this. It's kind of a good thing that Slanelson was realising he was batting badly and then he had to get himself out. All right. Very awful. Rabada coming on. Gar looks awkward. He looks like he's awkward too. This match is too done and dusted versus. Oh, this match. It's playing some very weird shots. There's no very lumbering, these two. Helicopters overhead. Usually This match is not like done and dusted, but anyways, you'd think that it's in the favour of what's the number for C. Smith? Oh boy. They're playing these almost like this tentative shots. It's very annoying to watch. This is not the typical these guys. Oh, jeez. Carl's playing another something. I think it's actually both he and Simmons look to be in the same boat. Okay, young kids there. Why would you be blocking at 14.3 overs with several wickets in hand? That doesn't make any sense. Okay. Here we go. These two are very. Rahul Dravid officially applies to the post of India's head coach. Yeah, we knew that. He's already been selected. I thought he was already India's head coach. Officially, that means he's Russell has lost his charm. C Sports, yeah, he should. Unlike we're watching with this channel, and that's not the point. We know that it's already been announced. It's not something that I'm shocked at. Media. Conference. Steve Smith. I don't know what they're interviewing some very interesting sort of characters, you would argue. Master Gale. Okay. Don't take too easy. Has to be. Okay, so I'm saying the Sri Lanka threat, and there's a wicket fall, has that? No, they're coming together. Pollard's, these two just dawdling. They've got 5 overs to go. They need, literally 5 overs of hitting. Because 10 runs an over, that's probably, if Drum's playing, that's why Circuit has said Gale should not be an odd nature. I think Gale needs 1/6 per over to keep up the strike. Yeah, but he'd want him to get more than that. He's playing a long test match, really so disappointing. It is a little bit coding shit show. That's why now I think it's a little bit early, guys. Yeah, the West Indian guy, that's true. Penny. He's looking old these days. I love the Mount Olympus approaching Nirvana song. Okay. Great to see you using the same song on your videos. Why is Guru Adam Gilchrist Shane Moore not commenting? I don't know. Gale should open. He's older than me. He can't run. Okay. Who's that six? Pollard seems to bit intentions felt. Yeah, not to be mucked around with now. Pollard is capable of going nuts, as we know. Lovely shot. Pollard can go nuts now. And Gale's just gone nuts. Gale has hit an almighty 6. So, guys, let's just be wary of that. I could go nuts now. I'm going to need to go nuts. We know these guys are capable of doing it. Chris Gale is starting to go nuts. Gale don't know. That's a wide, huge wide, humongous wide. You'd have to think that Gale and Pollard normally would be the two that you would go to. Now, I must be included at least. It's a mistake now. He's gone. But what is screwed up is making no sense. Well, perhaps. Just wait and see this. I'm not sleeping giants, these guys are. Element of sleeping giant going on here. This is not the way the West Indies play. Adric Husband was excellent during the 100. Yeah, he's still floating around. Seven, is it really? They're just on 7 and over, just shy of 7 and 0. Anuraj, how are you? Kieran Pollard on strike for about 140 is 140 is a complete. It's not good enough. There's a no ball apparently. There's a free hit going on. It was needed. So that's, yeah, they're exactly 7. Oh, that's gone racing away. Maxed it pretty well. Not overly well. Didn't quite go where it was meant to go. Afghanistan has displayed the best batting in the World Cup, not far from it. Pakistan have been up there as well, don't forget. And you'd have to include even England looked pretty damn good too. There's a fair bit of good batting in this tournament. So 20. The ball is sat there from Rabada. You can't knock. So fantasy, they've got Shakib Al Hussain at the highest, Wanindu, Azaranga, Lahira Kamara, Josh Davey from Scotland, and Mahesh Dekshana. They're all the big picks. There you go. Pye's got some runs there. They need to 140's absolute minimum. Well, concussion rules apply apparently, so as best as played. Yep. Has to be wide. Yeah. Awful delivery. There's 3 overs left. These two need to get their regular on, I think. Why is Women IPL not happening? Because, well, the IPL didn't happen in India either, and they're playing the BBL, so there was no time. It'll come back next year, I'm sure. But then there's a World Cup on as well, so a lot of difficult timing here. Yeah, this is awful batting, but South Africa, I'm afraid, are even more of an awful side. Roston Chase, he's a good player. It could also have been a wide, actually. Can India qualify for semi-final because next match will be? Well, India have to beat New Zealand. it would be good for India to beat New Zealand, because New Zealand lose to Pakistan, that'll throw New Zealand right out of the equation, and we'll leave India and Pakistan alone. Andre Russell should be the next in. He looks like he's next in. Well, with 3 overs left, they should get 30 runs minimum. Lockdown and Ahmedabad new teams in IPL, that's correct. And money's important. They've got almost $1 billion from one of the, I think it's the Lucknow franchise. Ahmedabad, amazing. Pretorius is coming on. He looked okay in the previous match. Time for Gale to launch. And he's been caught behind. Slowish ball, very ordinary. Chris Gale, oh my God. But Andre Russell's in now, and he has had good IPL form, so that's one good thing. Very underwhelming, the old. With you would imagine this will be Andre Russell coming. Yeah, he's could do some damage in these last 2 overs, which they need badly. They need this badly. Why is not happening nowadays? I don't know. I don't know why Tri-Series is not happening. It's not economic for them to do, I guess. When Gale will start his Ferrari, he's on a bicycle now. Well, he's just lost his wicket, hasn't he? So he'll be on nothing. Immediately, Andre Russell has effect. Immediately. Andre Russell's in great form. Why would you put a person at what is virtually a very shortish straight wicket, straight shot? Gale versus England 13, stake 12, proving Kurt Lambers is right. Yep. I want your number of son and daughter. Your number of son? One son. That's it. I have 2 stepdaughters. I assume those one mighty whack, but there was someone down there. A lethargic score here, but against a even more lethargic South African side, you would think that they've got a pretty good chance. They're batting second, though. That's probably where the problem starts. Oh, Paul Hyth absolutely smashed that. You got this ridiculous shortish it off been on. Winter arrived in Australia harsh. Australia is going from spring to summer. What's happening, Norman? Well, we've got the West Indies at 4 for 130. I should be putting their scores on the bottom, shouldn't I? So the West Indies are a 4 for 130 in what is really we have South Africa won the toss. And bowled. And bowled. Another wicket. Is that Andy Russell? And he's still there. Still haven't got enough runs, you would think. So I won the toss and bowled. West Indies are 4 for 131 after 18. With Norgay coming on. If they can score 20 off the last 20 off each over, they'll be 171. That's pretty good. Let's see if they can do that. Pollard's on 22. He's not mucked around. Haven't they? They're waiting. Well, they've got the right two in there at the moment. That's for sure. Norgay's 9 for 10, 3.1. Pretty good figures, actually. Andre Russell in the box seat now. And bowled, clean bowled. Quite a very fast delivery. Well bowled. Very, very good ball. Searing Yorker. Beautiful ball. Very good delivery. Okay, I've got a few deliveries left, so let's have a look. Shimron Hetmeyer, who could have well batted earlier in the innings, actually. Not where he was. Shimon Hetmeyer is not a bad player to bring in, let's be honest. All right, let's see what happens here. Hetmeyer can certainly hit. Under us, we're going to have to do a delivery, so let's see what happens now. With some 10 deliveries left. What's going on there? Noisy, he can't run in and not bowl. Oh, that tailed in beautifully. Oh, what was that? A prod and then a half run. I don't know what was going on there. Awful running. Hetmeyer's gone under that, but not really under it. He looks like he's just got at least a single there anyway. He looks like he's out. So Hetmeyer looks like he's out. Hetmeyer is walking off as if he's run out and his decision pending. It will be out. He's a mile out. Yeah, he's a mile out. Some pretty ordinary playing by the, but at least they got some sort of total on the board. Now, who's in next? I think is that one of the young blokes. Dwayne Bravo. Well, nothing sloppy about him. He can play. If you hear, some of you are here, not many are here actually. Yeah, 140, 145 will be. It should be enough, but we'll wait and see. Now to get there first. Yeah, it is pretty awful batting, I must say. Oh boy. So I'm probably going to cut off here, guys, and I'll come back when the Pakistan game starts. The way Pollard's batting, you hope for some sort of resurgence there. Bye. We'll see you. We'll talk later. I'm going to be on throughout the whole time, okay? I'm just going to keep this link going and we'll come back on. Well, the 19 overs are 136, so they're still above that 700 over. Harsh, would you stop writing these comments? I'm going to block you, Harsh. Really? Don't write that sort of comments. It doesn't attract anyone. Oh, we're going for 2.5 hours. I think we're going to stop this. Yep. So people are coming and going. Harsh. Last over to go, and then we're going to have a break. So banners or brand, what else we can do? Six 136. On 37. Haven't got many balls left. The old West Indies 6 136. It's pretty damn ordinary. I'm quite how to go the way there. Not sure what happened there. Where's the umpire going? Is he going off or? I'm not sure what's going on there. It's bizarre sort of circumstances here, I'll tell you, with this delivery. Oh, it looks like it was bounced to me. That bounced. It bounced as an Islam migrate. Vijay Mugul, I'm watching too. Do you still play cricket with your mates? Yes, of course I do. Not out. Bounced clearly. Clearly bounced. Yeah. I think it's going to give it not out. Out. They're calling it out. I would have doubted that. Pollard's not happy with that. He's laughing because he knows he wasn't out. He's got to come in and bowl well. That was a hard decision. I totally agree. It was, as far as I was concerned, it was out. Not out, sorry. So that's 7 for 137, 19.2 overs. It's not a great total. Just wait and see what happens. He's gone for the whack. It's gone bursting when he's out next ball. So this is a pretty ordinary finish. Oh boy. Yeah, I agree with some pretty. Vijay, the problem with India, they basically were outplayed by a better side on the day. The two, Baba Azam and Rizwan, played particularly well, and nothing went their way, and they just didn't have a chance, and they were outplayed. Their bowling wasn't necessarily poor; it was just outplayed. You can't beat good play, can you? You can't beat someone who's playing well. Well, Sam's in the bat, and he can't bat, all I can gather. 8 for 137. It's just not enough runs. Not enough runs, guys. And Dwayne Bravo certainly went for the right spot. We know he can finish. It looks, is that a wide? $141 is really a pretty ordinary effort, to be honest, guys. Really please, same shot. He's only got the one run. Well, they finished on 143 for 8. For most teams, I'd say this is very gettable. You'd think that was a gettable total, wouldn't you? Very lacklustre batting performance there, indeed. Just seeing what the partner is. Sorry, guys, won't be a sec. All right, guys. To me, South Africa saying will win Barak Bushana. It's too early to really say what's going on there because, you know, you don't really know what the story is with events like this because South Africa have been in such ordinary form that you can't predict anything really from what they've done so far. So I'm going to change the thumbnail to be specifically around the South African win. So, not South African win, I'll get it right. We'll edit that and put a new thumbnail. Change the thumbnail. Can't do the thumbnail here, obviously. All right. So, let's have a look here, guys. Just give me a second. We'll just have a look what's going on here regarding my photos. Airdrop. I have airdrop it. Hope people found. All right, here we go. So we're back, guys. We're going to be talking a lot more about the Pakistan-New Zealand match now as we change over from what we're talking about before. And realistically, we're going to be in a bit of a turmoil here regarding the whole shebang for. Well, again, I'll repeat the score. After 20 overs, the West Indies are 8 for 143, with South Africa hitting 144 to win, which is not exactly a problem under normal circumstances. I would say that, but I'm not exactly convinced that we've got a situation here where. Let's see what we've got here. So we'll go. Okay, so we've got 20 ICC 2020 World Cup. We've got okay, so we're looking at a breakdown there of what's the story. Let's have a look. What's the story there for? It's 807. If that's 807, let's have a look here. What do we got here for uploads? Pars was 806. Okay. So we've got a new breakdown from that. So what do you guys think of this game so far? I'm a bit perplexed with the whole thing. I'm not really enjoying it. It's very frustrating to see West Indies side not play that well. So this is one of those games which is frustrating because both these sides realistically won't have a hope of making the finals. Well, the way the West Indies are playing, you can't even begin to think that they would be a possibility. So let's have a look here. Interview with Steve Smith was interesting, certainly. Pav Shah, how are you? We've got people, this is in between games, we're a bit on the quiet zone, everybody's gone for a bit of a drink break. They'll be back later. Okay, so certainly have a date with a lot to happen. Look what the Par's got there. So we've got not a lot going on in regards to the match itself. It's going to be once the West Indies. Well, you would assume that the West Indies can defend this. You would think, well, there's no what. Well, because it's been going on for 2 hours 49 minutes past show. And we're basically just in between games. People have been on and off quite a bit. It's just they're not watching now, but they come back, guys. So what's the story there? I'm editing some of the things. So ask questions. People are on the line. People are here. What's that? Pakistan, New Zealand. You can't change it. Okay, I keep forgetting that we don't do it there. So just awaiting the change to the live broadcast. I don't know if I can change the live broadcast. Live, here we go. Looks like we can't change it. So we're looking at a situation here where, realistically, two sides that just simply are not cutting it, surviving at the moment. Why can't this be changed? Why can't we change photos post? Do you think they'd be able to do that? Why? Bizarre. All right, we'll leave it as it is. Whereas the partner, I thought it was her channel. It's actually both of our channels. So she's on very shortly, don't worry. She's actually here. We've got a collaboration going between the two channels, by the way. Just to let you know if you're not aware of that. And so she'll be here, don't worry. So you're actually commenting there. She'll be here soon. So obviously, a combination of things going. The match, as we know it, basically has a situation where the two teams are very much in a state of frustration, you would argue. And realistically, I'm just paste this. Look at the Steve Ward. My Steve Smith interviews there, as you may see. So 80, okay, is that way? Pressure. So partners are here any minute now, guys. Just don't worry, don't stress. Pressure, so it's 808. If that's 808, then what's this one here? I want to change that thumbnail. What do I do? It's not letting me change. It'd be interesting to see what they let me change that. So I need to we need to change this thumbnail. Let's have a look what we can do. I'm just going to create a new thumbnail, guys. So won't be long before we're all back on deck. Obviously, we're not back on deck just yet. We've got a match which is really a bit of tenterhooks at the moment, you would argue. Okay, let's just see if we can get this done. How am I going to change that? I'm going to change it here, don't I? I'm going to add it to my messenger. What do you think about QTK's future in South Africa? Well, he obviously is anti-black, isn't he? So it's pretty sad indeed. And wouldn't go on his knees. He was dropped from his captaincy rather suspiciously too, to be honest. And you have to wonder what the hell's going on there. That's all I can say. There's a lot of problems going on here, guys. A lot of problems in South Africa with the apartheid. Let's call it apartheid. Let's call it what we will. It's one of those situations where, let's see. What JK? That's all I'll do. Trying to save some photos here. It's disastrous, guys. Okay. Well, let's go back to where we were. So just try and download, change. The Quentin de Kock situation is disturbing, to say the least. That a player in this day and age can actually take a stand, and obviously they're not happy with anything other than that. Okay, listen. So I've saved it. All right, so as far as we're concerned, South Africa are really in a situation where they can't afford to not do well on this match. They've got to really take charge of it. I think they would be back on deck now. Let's have a look here. Everything's a bit slow at the moment. Not having Quentin de Kock there was a big blow to South Africa's batting. And that's going to be a telltale sign. We'll see how that goes now. String Foxtel. Sorry guys, everything's a bit slow at the moment. As just a recap, of course, South Africa won the toss and elected the bowl, put the West Indies in. West Indies got 8 for 143. Ravi Rampal's rampaging in. And West South Africa already lost their first wicket. Van Dusen is in, Hendricks is in. Targets with 1 for 5. It looks like South Africa might be in a bit of trouble. Ravi Rampal, he's not a young guy, is he? He's gone pretty silly there. Still bowls very well, actually. What was the first wicket that fell? I'm afraid I didn't see it. That's the story here. So Seve Buma got to run out for 2, which is awful start for meant to be their main batsman. That's a pretty ordinary effort, really. Let's go ticket, edit. South Africa. South Africa and horrible run out. Can you imagine being run out that early in the innings? It's just disgraceful. Ravi Rampal's rampaging quite nicely. It's quite difficult to. He's quite steady, isn't he? 1 for 6. 1 for 6 off 2 overs. So this essay, 1 for 6 off 2 overs. It's pretty. Yes. Then Susan, he doesn't seem to be. This is now Hussain, and he's been hit well by Hendricks right up in the air. Looks like he's out of the ground, and he's at 6. So that's not the start that his bowling would have liked. Let's put it that way. Q to K is the only talented person who could have let her figure out, but they are losing him as well. It's Lendl desires. Test cricket, not T20. Yeah, that's true. He had a pretty ordinary. That wasn't a bad shot there by Hendricks. Well, we're staying on, guys, right through this match. We're going to hopefully start, be able to look at the next performance as well. It's way too short. Way too short. Yeah, South Africa probably are in the better position to win this match. I'll have to say that begrudgingly. It's not a good situation to be in, guys. A bit of discussion about the spin bowling, what he's doing. They're not happy with what he's bowling way too short. When a person hits you out of the ground, you don't suddenly become, hey, views on them. Arrows qualified. We're back on deck now. The vids are just in replay, aren't they? So it's better he bowled a fuller ball. Andrew Husen. I won't be surprised if we never see Quentin playing his nation again. Well, he may migrate to England or something. He's a good enough player. Yeah, look, he's going to make enough money from the IPLs and PSLs and whatever else. He won't worry about it too much, I don't think. Oh, gee, that was almost a catch. Is it actually a par score by Western? How's it? Well, Don Douglas, to me, it's a bit under it. They bowl well, they should be able to defend it, but it's a matter where they bowl. Views on the IPL bids? You want the views, Colfer? Okay, the views. Look, Lucknow paid too much, but $1 billion is $1 billion. I mean, if you've got it, pay it. It's way too much. But, okay, it shows the power of it. Ahmedabad seem to have a bit more financial support. They didn't pay as much. The thing is, Lucknow was also previously the Pune, what was it? The Pune team was also owned by what is now the Lucknow group. So they're keen to get back in. A lot of money. They're investors. A lot of money. So, Paul's first all only hit for 2 runs. So wait and see what you can do this over. And you look particularly good, actually. Can Quinton come to Australia and play? It probably would take a few years of migration rules to apply before he could. And he probably wouldn't bother doing it. England, I'm not sure, might be easier. Well, so we're going to go for a reasonable start. There's good old one of the South African ex-players. Somebody left us, have they? On 46.70. This is becoming an agonising match, isn't it? Really quite agonising. Okay, this is not working. All right, guys. See you later.